Hey guys, it's us, it's Wasik and Henry. We are going to be doing another Leetcode question, this time a little bit more complex. Hopefully, you guys find this helpful, and let's get into it. So we're going to be doing question 48, which is rotate image. Basically, what we're going to be doing here is that you're given a matrix, which is basically an array of arrays. So as you see right here, it's just one huge array with smaller arrays inside of it. And what they want is to basically take this original array and then reverse or rotate it onto its side by 90 degrees. So the best way to kind of see it is that this 1, 2, and 3 over here kind of go down here like this. 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6 is coming down like this. And then 7, 8, 9 going basically like that. To give you a better illustration, let's do a quick walkthrough here. So this is the first test case that they give us. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what we're seeing is that these three numbers are appearing over here. So basically what's happening is that we're taking a row and we're turning it into a column over here. But of course it's not showing up over here, right? Because it's being reversed. So we need to make sure that we keep that in mind as we continue along. So the easiest way to think about these is that what are we taking in and returning, right? All over again as we did in the last one. So we are going to be taking in a matrix, which is going to be a array of arrays, and we're going to be returning a matrix again. So in this scenario, they actually want us to manipulate the original array or original matrix and turn it into that final solution that we're seeing here. So keeping that in mind, I think the easiest way to approach this is to kind of just write out what's happening and just go based on that and see if we can identify any patterns that are appearing and use those patterns to work through a solution. Okay, so what's happening here is that the one over here is going to be moving from this 0, 0 position into 0, 2. And we see the 2 transitioning from 0, 1 into 1, 2. 3 goes from 0, 2 over to 2, 2. And just writing these out, you can start to see that there's a pattern. So pattern is going to be forming right here with the columns here and the rows over here. So it looks like the rows end up becoming, sorry, the columns end up becoming the rows over on this side. And the rows on here are not exactly the columns. It looks like they're getting reversed here. So what that means is that if we start on the first row, right, which is this 1, 2, 3, it looks like that becomes the final column. So we're going to be making this equal to the matrix at whatever row it's at, and it's going to be the dot length of this row, which in these cases, since it's always going to be a square, it's always going to be the same number of rows versus columns. And we're going to subtract 1 because the numbers only go up to 3. So the length would be 3. However, the index goes up to 2, starting from 0 to 1 to 2. And since the length goes up to 3, we want to subtract 1 from it. And we also want to subtract the row. So the original row being 0 in this case, if we look at the length of this, is going to be 3 minus the 1 minus the row, which is 0, and leads to 2. And that same 2 is what we see over here. So we're using this row to come up with these columns by doing this over here. So what we're going to do now is move over to writing out the pseudocode for this problem. Just ignore the rest of the stuff down here. We're going to use that for testing. What's happening here as we write this out is that first we want to create a copy of the original array, or sorry, the original matrix. And the reason why we want to be working with the copy is because since we're going to be going through this array vertically, and we're going to be on this side be inputting that data horizontally as a row. So this column is going to be the first row. If we only manipulated the original matrix, we would actually run into a problem as soon as we get into the second column. This 2 wouldn't be the 2 anymore, it would be a 4. And so it would be pulling numbers that have already been changed or modified from before, and then it would be reusing those same numbers. And so we would run into a situation where the final matrix would not even be anywhere close what it's supposed to be. So we want those original values to be maintained. And because of that fact, we want to be working off a copy of the original matrix.
So the way that you iterate through a matrix, since it's an array of arrays, you'd have to do a nested for so that's just one for loop inside of the other. And then, yeah, pretty much in each iteration, we're just going to change the values, you know, at each one of those coordinates to match like where they're supposed to on the original. All right. So first we got to get our copy. So we're going to say, let's see here. Let's new matrix. Pretty cool. We could say matrix, right? But if we do that, it's going to be, since it's a reference type, it basically like just be like saying, like it's the same thing. They're all of the indexes are pointing to the same things. So we have to make a deep copy. And there's a few ways to do it, but I think with a nested array, like a matrix, I'm not sure if you have to use this method, but this is the method that I use. It's going to be JSON.parse, and we'll parse the return of JSON.stringify the matrix. And that'll give us like a deep copy that won't change when we change a value in the original. So, yeah. And we'll jump into our nested for loop. So we'll say for let row equal 0. We're going to say row is less than matrix.length, and row increments by 1. So from there, that's our outer for loop. Jump into the inner for loop. We're talking about columns. And for this one, we're actually going to want to iterate backwards, because if you look at the column in the second one, it starts off at the end. So the way that you iterate backward would be minus 1. That'll give us our 2. And then 1 is greater than, yeah, it's greater than or equal to 0. Minus 1. And that should set us up perfectly. So on each iteration in the column, we'll want to set our original matrix at row 1, to equal new matrix at minus 1. No. It's going to be, yeah, the length minus 1 and minus the column.
Mm-hmm.
It's really confusing.
Yeah.
And,
Yep.
All right. And I think that's pretty much it
Mm-hmm.
for the original matrix. That should be good.
Yep. Looks good. All right. Okay, so let's test out the code with these inputs that were given by Leetcode. So the first one is the first test case. We're doing these 1, 2, 3, all the way to 9. And the output is going to be this, or should be this. Let's test it out. On here. Clear this up. And there we go, 741852963. All right, and then testing out the second example that they gave over here. And yes, 151325, 14341. Right, looks all good. And that's it, that's the solution. If you guys liked, like and subscribe. We'll be posting more videos. Yeah, that's it for now.